Hmm. What is game B? Well, not the most difficult of all questions, but a very, very, very difficult question. It's akin to asking, what is the Tao? What is God? That kind of thing. Not that game B is God. That's not the point. But it is okay. So if game A is um, a set of individuals collaborating with each other, game B is a web of collaboration made up of individuals doing so, kind of thing. The emphasis is completely different. So the basic premise of game B is that it focuses on the space between the individuals, the relationships between them, and the web, the interconnectedness of the web.
If game A is blasphemous, then game B is holy. It is the game that tries to re-establish the holy symmetry between humanity and nature. Realigning the axis mundi so that the anima mundi may spin around it. To each their own axis. How to realign the spines of all the players of game B. The source of good game playing. An aligned spine. And then a good spin.
The holy idea, I think, is really important. So if game A is gross and game B is holy, game B honors the holes. This is what holy is, right? It's the holes, it's the spaces, it's the lacunae, right? And so again, it's the space between that is the crucial thing to focus on. And it's very, very easy to start thinking, oh, cryptocurrencies would be game B, this kind of thing. But no, 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 no. That's missing the point. Game B isn't concrete notions of systems. Game B is the soil from which emerges what needs to emerge. That's the point. And so the creation of game B is not about designing new systems, designing infrastructures. It's about allowing fertile relationships to create.
Game B is the game that removes power from the empire and gives it to culture. Game B is a game of social permaculture, of permanent culture, of keeping the culture inside of its self-spinning trance so it can self-perpetuate, rather than always being blocked by the force of empire. Game B is the game that allows for anyone to play the game that they need to play to develop for their highest player self. Game B is a meta game. It is not one single game, but it is a plurality of games which are derived from a set of fundamental game principles.
And those fundamental game principles are the social permaculture, right? That and so the fully conscious engagement in the playing of games, rather than having invisible games playing you as pawns, rather the players engage with the game fully consciously, fully understanding and accepting, submitting to, don't quite like submitting to, but anyway, the rules of the game. But this also places a great burden of responsibility on the individual. Well, burden is, again, not a great word because it feels like it's a hard thing to bear. It's not like that, but it does place a great deal of responsibility on the individual to be a good player, to be the kind of player that people want to play games with. So personal development is a core feature of game B.
Game B is the game that aligns personal and global development. Game B is the game which allows for the choice between many different games which are organized into guilds so that one may find the games that best suit oneself on an individual level, but also oneself on a communal level. A game where one can be part of a communal self, which plays in a way that one wants to play. Game B is a process of cultivating game awareness. Game B is a process of cultivating ludopsychotechnologies. Game B is a process of cultivating socio-psychotechnologies.
That's very good. The notion of alignment between the personal game and the global game, and all of the stages in between. The fractal nature of Game B is another key feature of it. So the game space, if you like, is the infinite void, and games within games within games within games within games are played within that space. And so the on a personal individual level, the development of one's ability to play games includes an understanding of the levels of games above your immediate game, of the social game, of the cultural game, and of the meta game itself, which is the formula imprinted in all of the games at every fractal level.
Game B is the meta game that generates transparent games. Games that one can look into and one can see what is being played with here. What are the stakes here? How can I be accepted into this game? What are the doors that I need to pass through? Are the doors merit? Are the doors privilege? Are the doors family, bloodline? The generation of games with clear pathways of initiation into the higher levels. Game B facilitates the distribution of resources along the lines of different game rules. Some are hierarchical, some are cyclical, some are by chance, but not one game to rule them all.
Game B isn't the game to rule them all, but it is the vessel in which they all sit, kind of thing. So Game B is the infinite game within which potentially finite games can be embedded. So the finite game can still exist, the win-lose game can still exist, but embedded within the grander context of all of these games are part of, in the same way that within an ecosystem, you know, in any given battle between the lion and the gazelle, the lion or the gazelle wins. But in the grander scale, the larger game is the development of the complexity and the capacity of the ecosystem itself, not of the lion or of the gazelle. You're muted, Laurence.
Game B is an ecosystem of games. Game B is an ecosystem of consensual games. Games that one can give oneself to and one can remove oneself from. A game is not a game if it is not consensual. Game A is a game of bullies, of being forced to play specific games. Game B is a game of choosing which games one wants to play. And the quest of Game B is finding which games are the ones which allow oneself to realign individual spine with spine so doing help realign the global